Hey, what is up guys, Masterleaf here, back to do another video, and today I've got another awesome game. And this game I did submit to Cyber about a month ago, but because it's so old now and R20 has been released in its final form, it's unlikely that it will ever get casted by him. So I'm going to try and recall and give you my first person perspective of this particular match. It's been just under a month since I played this game. But I'll give you all insight into what went down in this match. It is against Phoenix. He wasn't particularly in the best of shape, nor was I. This is not the best played game, but I would consider it to be an amazing game nonetheless. It doesn't have to be played brilliantly, as long as it's entertaining and I feel like it's close and unpredictable. Then that's all that it needs to constitute a good game. You don't have to have two pro players at the best of their ability. So the first thing that went down in this game was I tried to throw the hallucinogenic grenades. Unfortunately, I was unable to get that successful throw on those buzzers. It was the only chance I had against overwhelming odds. He does get past those two Confessor Cabal squads with ease. Now, for all of you who are new and don't know what's going on, you would have noticed that the Cabal squad is a smaller squad than the full squad. That's because when you sell off structures in this community patch, it gets you a smaller squad. The technical term for that is called drafting. It's a drafted scouting squad because it came from a sold off structure. And because sold off buildings give you, for instance, the shredder turret is $300 when you sell it off. That is cheaper than the $400 it costs to build a Cabal squad from the hand of nods, so it would be pretty OP if it came as a full squad. So we deemed it necessary to reduce the squad size for balance reasons. Since then, Black Hand haven't been so oppressive. We've been seeing all the 9 factions in good shape. I had some awesome games today as Zocom against Steel Talon. Zocom versus Steel Talons, traditionally factions that you would never see play, but nowadays they are right at the top. Zocom, man, they are very good against Steel Talons nowadays, but more on that maybe in a future video. Zocom, I think we're going to see more of them. So this game, firstly I want to make sure that I don't have any echoing in my audio. I do not. I'm talking to Technique about Diablo 4. I'm not going to go to that game, but he is a fan of it. I don't think we'll see Technique back in Kane's rap, but I still talk to him now and then. Bucky going in for the scout. I got these Scorps. I did withstand that Seeker push. I'm going to push out with these tanks. I need to be careful about that defensive tower. I'm paying attention to there. This defensive tower can one-shot kill these Scorps without Dozer Blades if the Scorps show their side and rear armor. Raider Buggy on the right flank just to scout so I can see if there's anything coming that way. And I am Black Hand, so I do have the powerful flame weaponry that you see the Black Hand use. They do come with the veteran flame tanks. They get Purifying Flame, which increases the damage of all flame weaponry by 50%. In this patch even, the Redeemer gets that flamethrower with blue flame. You could argue it was a fix because the description of Purifying Flame literally says all flame units. There's no other upgrade in the game that says all, only the Purifying Flame. So I felt that that was an omission. Had very good reason to add the Redeemer, as mentioned in my R20 patch discussion, but basically the TLDR is the blue flame tank got nerfed, so to maintain the value of the upgrade, that is to say $3,000, 1 minute 30, we gave the Purifying Flame to the Redeemer, so 30% increase to the damage. Didn't want to increase the oppressiveness of the timing pushes, even though weaker blue flame, which is still plus 50% damage for flame tanks, is still weaker. If it took less time to upgrade, it would make it better for early game pushes, and that was undesirable. So I've got the Black Disciples online just in time as well, because those buzzers from that Buzzer Swarm support power just cleaned up my scouting squads. Flame tanks in the bottom, flame tanks in the top. Those Seekers did dispatch that unit there. Defensive tower was captured as well by Phoenix. I destroyed a couple of those descents. Descents no match for those Cabal squads. Flame tank will deal with those Seekers there. I've got a couple of units over there too. There's a Mastermind. Phoenix has upgraded, has gone to tier 3. I built a Voice of Kane by accident. You don't need those as Black Hand. It's essentially the same buff as the Purifier and Confessor Cabal. There's no need to use Voice of Kane's because the buff does not stack with that. And for good measure, because it would be broken. The buff is already amazing with the Purifier and the Cabal. Essentially the same buff. Chemical plant down for me, which means one thing and one thing only. It's going to be 1 clicks. I'm going to use the Catalyst Missile on one of these refineries, but Phoenix has 3, so it's not going to be very damaging if I click 1. It's worth building the chemical plant just for the Tiberium seed use. There's no reason not to build it, because you're getting more than 3 grand of resources from that support power when the harvesters harvest from it. Plus you can sell the chemical plant off afterwards for $1,500 at a Black Hand squad, so even if you just intend to use it for only the Tiberium seed, it's worth it. Crazy good building. There's no reason not to go straight for a chemical plant in this game as any non-faction. So these flame tanks, Phoenix has done a great job so far in nullifying the effectiveness of these flame tanks. Little skirmishes happening here and there, which is good, because usually against pro players it's hard to get damage dealt, hard to get in. You got to find some little pieces of damage here and there, and usually it's the little victories that amount to larger ones later on. Small advantages can snowball into a huge lead. But the later the game goes, the more mistakes players can afford to make. If it's early game and you lose, say, an engineer, that's a big deal, because that $500 is much more significant in the early game compared to like 5 minutes into the match. 3 refineries on this field for me. I am going to clean up this tip field. The Redeemer is out too, and I've got one mammoth task of dealing with these corruptors, dealing with this hexbot. This MCV will be falling. Those corruptors going to be dispatching that MCV. Hexpod out as well for him. That's going to be quite an issue for me, but I can use these Raider buggies to lock down this hex. Hexpod also in R20 generates resources for every single kill. It has always supposed to do that, but it was bugged somewhat in the previous patch. R20 addresses a lot of issues. Blue flame tank in the back of Phoenix's base. I'm going to move that one in there. More Raider buggies out for me as well. But unfortunately these tripods are cleaning up all my buggies. The flame tank is in his base. That was what I needed. Seekers over there destroying my harvesters. Dev tank out of position, but these tripods and that hexbot is just going to make mince meat of my Redeemer. This Redeemer is just going to get EMP'd immediately and destroyed. He needs to focus down my Hand of Nod. That's doing a lot. And the flame tank does eventually get captured. So even though Phoenix lost a couple of structures, it actually benefited him, because he's got now a heroic flame tank. You can see he's harvesting from that expansion tier field. I do not have a refinery of my own. I lost my epic unit. Phoenix has an expansion. Phoenix has a heroic flame tank to his name with that purifying flame. He still maintains the upgrade. He captures it with the purifying flame, so it will continue to get that upgrade. So it's coming to my base now. That is quite a problem. I can lock it down with EMP buggies, which in R20 the EMP does take effect a little bit sooner compared to before. Flame tank moving into my base, so I'm actually going to face the wrath of my own flame tank, which is unfortunate. I need to try and destroy this husk too. It's a cyan husk because I did reclaim that husk, but yeah, because I don't have the shields upgrade, when I reclaim husks, I don't get the force fields, whereas he will get it if he captures it, because he's got that upgrade purchased. Flame tank went down pretty quickly. I was actually surprised. If he had focused on my MCV, maybe he could have got it. But yeah, bike buggy really is the name of the game for me at this point. I have to deal with quite impossible odds. There's tripods out, there's a hexpod out, there's devastated warships. it's basically nothing. I have essentially scraps and no income left. So this is it for me. 2 bikes and 5 raider buggies and just a handful of basic infantry units. I'm really strapped for cash. I'm selling most of my base off for a bunch of Cabal squads. There's a ton of resistance in Phoenix's base. He knows what's up. That dev tank is going to be proving to be a problem. Lightning Spike comes down. He's well aware of this, but I use the EMP of these raider buggies to lock down this dev tank, to lock down these gun walkers, and maybe with that I can destroy these forces here. Every unit counts for me. I don't have anything to replace my losses. Even the bikes need to be working overtime. Those units of his getting repaired by the reconstruction drones. There's a devastator warship right there as well. These few infantry units are killing gun walkers. These buggies allowing me to take trades that I otherwise would not be able to make. Hexpod teleports into the fray. This flame tank will be destroyed. There is a mastermind still out on this map, I believe. Just 4 or 5 bikes and some buggies. There's gun walkers back there too. 4 or 5 gun walkers. I'm focusing them down. And I'm slowly working on these units here. Bikes destroying the gun walkers. Just 3 or 4 rocket squads left. These bikes are killing the remainder of these units. I need to start queuing some raider buggies. And look at this. From such a terrible position I was in, I'm able to compete even against tier 3 Scrin with their hexapods, with their Devourer tanks. Drone ship moving forward as well, so Phoenix can place down a portal. But yeah, I need to continually follow up this attack with more EMP on this Eradicator hexpod. More EMP comes down on that. There is an elite bike right there. If I'm smart, I would try and get the last shot off on this hexpod with my elite bike. It would then promote to heroic. But it looks like the Cabal squad got the kill instead. Not often do you see a heroic Cabal. There's the heroic bike for me. So yeah, this is really a demonstration of what is possible when you're from a position of being behind. There is a heroic bike for me and a heroic Cabal. So despite him having that full expansion income and me not harvesting anything, these 2 heroic units will be able to milk his production endlessly. The Eradicator hexpod fell to EMP micro. That Devourer tank and Gunwalker wall as well fell to the EMP. And that is going to be it. That is a game where I came back from behind. I thought it was a pretty good game. It was pretty memorable for me. I was very chuffed by this game because I came back from a very bad position to win with just basic tier 1 units. Those Black Hand units with the upgrades are insane. Even the infantry squad comes with a fully upgraded Black Disciple with Purifying Flame, which is an insane unit. As you saw there, the Cabal is dealing huge damage with their charged particle beams. Blue flame tanks also great, even though he captured that flame tank of mine and things were going real south. I was able to turn the tides, and that was all I needed just to kill the Eradicator hexpod with my EMP buggies. Good demonstration of the EMP change in R20, and I hope you all enjoyed this short game, guys. I've got more games to come, but it is hard to get games that I feel are worth posting. I don't want to just post any old game on YouTube. I feel like I want it to be a game that's special to me, or a game that I feel is great or worth watching. So hope you enjoyed this game, guys. If you did, then don't forget to smash the like button. I'd really appreciate that. I'd also like to give a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters who have been supporting my mods and YouTube channel. Without them, we wouldn't have things like the 4K remaster add-on and R20 and R19 patch updates, which were very time consuming, and I really do appreciate the support that those guys have gave me. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who has been watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. So this is me, Masterleaf. Peace out.